Hello, this is Stuart from Hear Me See Me podcast. Today I've got a wonderful spitfire of a woman with me. I'm talking to Jayne Lewis-Orr, the Executive Director of Hairdressers Journal and lots of other things. How are you today?
Morning, Stuart. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm surprised you're still alive after the last few weeks you've had.
Yeah, it's been fairly busy with Business Awards, Salon International, and then we're just 5 weeks, we're less than 5 weeks away from the British Hairdressing Awards. So yeah, it was always on it. Keeps me out of mischief.
I know, I always say that one. So let's go straight into it.
Okay.
I always like to know what makes someone tick, and the thing I always think is start at the beginning. So where was your upbringing? Where was you brought up?
So I was brought up in Banstead in Surrey, and had pretty idyllic childhood, I think. Mum, dad, 2 brothers. Very fortunate. Had lots of lovely times together. Fun at school, and actually, I suppose in some ways fortunate that Reed, who was my previous employer to Hair, they were one of the biggest employers around, big publishing company, and I wanted to be a journalist, so that was kind of my aim. That was always where I wanted to be.
Right.
But yeah, family of musicians, so it was quite different not to be going into music.
Right. So what is their background? What are they?
So mum and dad were both actually everyone apart from me, and I get reminded of this regularly, was born in Manchester. Literally, I'm the only one born south, so they were all born in Manchester, including my 2 brothers. And then dad moved with the family down here because he was working in all the recording studios. So dad plays the trumpet, and he's still playing the trumpet extraordinarily well, apparently. I'm not the expert, but I'm told he is at 85. So
really
still plays at Ronnie Scott's. And you would have heard dad on kind of things from the James Bond themes through to Beatles music, through to Fred Astaire, Bing Crosby, all those kind of, Frank Sinatra, that kind of stuff, through to the Match of the Day theme, and being on Parkinson every week in the band. So
really?
Yeah, that was and is what my dad does. And then my older brother was also a professional musician. He played keyboards and had a studio, and was part of a band that many people won't have heard of now because they'd be far too young, but there was a band kind of 80s, 90s called Matt Bianco. That's my brother. So, and he was still working up until we lost him 5 years ago in December.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah. So, a middle brother didn't do any of that. My middle brother Paul was a very happy painter and decorator, loving life. Yeah. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you know what? This is why I love doing this, because I just love doing this podcast, because you meet people and you sort of feel, till you do this, you don't really there's all this other aspects and other facets of people.
Yeah.
Like, to be brought up amongst that, did you ever so I suppose you went to go to Ronnie Scott's and that when you was young, and
Yeah, I did. Yeah, you did. You did grow up in it, and it was very much the normal thing for us to see dad playing on, Surprise Surprise, or Parkinson, or Name That Tune and stuff like that. So it was kind of just, it was there before I was born. So nobody made any big deal of it. I mean, obviously I'm super proud of him. And we were very fortunate. Mum was a stay-at-home mum, so we were absolutely, spoiled rotten, as in cooked and loved and cared for. And I mean that. They were the happiest. Oh, I'm going to get upset. They were the happiest of times. They were the happiest times. I lost my mum when I was 21, and then I lost my middle brother when I was 27. So, and then Mark 5 years ago. So, oh God, I didn't expect to get upset. Sorry, Stuart. But we had the best times. Yeah, we really did have the best times.
So what, there is just you and dad now?
Yeah, there is. I mean, obviously I have my family now, so I'm married and I have 20-year-old, but for my family, it's me and my dad. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. But what memories?
Oh, you know what? I always say to people, because they're like, oh, how sad. And listen, it's the worst. And I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. But I think I'm so lucky to have had such a lovely time with my family and the best relationships with my brothers and my mum that some people never have in a lifetime. So the fact I didn't have them for very long I mean, it's horrible, and I have very selfish regrets. They'd not met my kids, they didn't see me married, those kind of things. But actually, I had the best time with them. Do you know what I mean? It was, they really were the best of times.
And do you know what? It's really refreshing sometimes, because probably the nature of what I do, that when I do share stories with people and when I do talk to people, that often their background's very, very sad. You know, very, very. So it's really lovely to hear someone who's got just a wonderful childhood and a wonderful. I mean, mine was great, you know, to a degree. It was really good, but you know, I had I was abused when I was a kid, so it sort of put the cat amongst the pigeons a bit with my upbringing, and it affected me. But I'm not saying that, because why I say that is that it's important you're sharing, so I will, because it's. I'm free enough to talk about it openly. I'm free enough because I went through a process of moving on from that. Yeah. And then I now can appreciate all the great things I had when I was growing up. I had some fantastic times, and I had a great loving family, but there was this other bit that don't need to define me and all that stuff.
Absolutely not.
You know, and you know, I lost my dad. Funny enough, it's my dad's birthday this week, and I lost him. I got sober 15 years ago, and I was only about 9 months sober when I lost him. So it's about 15 years ago he died.
Right.
I remember going to a hospital, visit him, and I was always looking for a pat on the back, you know. And I said to him, "Oh well, Dad." I mean, we knew he was going at that point. I said, "Oh well, Dad, at least you've seen me like stop drinking." And he went to me, "About fucking time."
But that was praise in his own way. That was a real acknowledgement that you've done it. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. But we all want approval from our parents, don't we? We want to make them proud.
Yeah, I still do. I mean,
absolutely.
I look around at my family when I mow the lawn, and I'm sort of waiting for it to go, "Oh, the lawn looks nice." We're all children at heart, aren't we?
Well, of course we are. I don't think you ever grow. And I think we also all think our parents are indestructible.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why it's a really tough, hard lesson when all of a sudden that. And you're right. I mean, I was just 22 when we lost my mum. So she wasn't ill. It was a massive heart attack. So didn't know it was, you know, everything was fine. And then everything changed. And it was literally in that split second.
And I think that's the twofold thing, isn't it? That you either get that horrible shock.
Yeah.
Or you get like my watching me 4 months watching your dad go through it, you know. So there's no good way for that.
No, there isn't.
For the person themselves, I'd opt for the quick one all the time. I'm hoping I get that one, but I think, you know, it's
I think it's difficult. It is difficult, and there's never the right time to say goodbye to the people you love, is there?
No, and it's always a shame for people to say like, to appreciate the people you've got while you've got them. I keep saying to kids, they'll think I'm dying. I go, no, I'm not dying. But just, you know,
just remember
when I'm gone.
No, but it is. No, but you're so right, because until it's not there, you don't realise what you had. I think probably, but I do think I agree with you. Your life experiences make you the person that you are. And I think I was young when I lost my mum. I was 27 when Paul was killed, and you do appreciate people more, because if you experience early that loss, actually I speak to my dad at least 2 or 3 times a day. I see him as much as I can, because I appreciate the fact I've still got him. I know that sounds really daft, but you know, every day is important that I speak, and I spoke to my brothers every day when they were alive, always.
Yeah.
You know, we were a tight family unit, and I'm very grateful for that, because if you've said not everybody has that. So I think I'm very fortunate.
I think you are. I can see that the way you speak about it.
And then get upset. I didn't expect that within 5 minutes of starting. So sorry about that.
I'm well known for making women cry.
There are so many responses to that, but I'm going to leave them all unsaid.
It's when I used to have the salon, I was always like every week I'd have a client crying in my chair. Not when I showed her the mirror, by the way.
I was going to say, was that? Do you like? Yeah.
Oh my God, what have you done to me? But But then these things, as you say, they drive us. That gives you drive. I mean, and you're a very driven woman. I mean, so where was your first break into journalism?
So I started work at Reed. I decided not to do the university route. I wanted to go to work and to get out and start earning some money and experiencing the world. So I stayed on and did kind of A levels, and then went to and I actually did what was called in those days, how long ago it was, a commercial course, which was like a business kind of PA. So you did all sorts of stuff, but it meant that the fundamentals for me were shorthand typing, which obviously you needed for journalism. And then I applied for a job at Reed. This is going back because I can remember many years later someone saying, we actually thought you were going to turn up in school uniform, because I was only 16 when I started. Right. And I got onto a training program there, but actually it was a secretarial training thing. But for me, it was a way in, because once I got in, I was hoping that I would be able to move where I wanted. And I can remember at my first interview saying, I want to be a journalist, I want to train to be a journalist, and I want to work on the hair and beauty group, because there was a hair and beauty group there. It was of interest. It was more interesting than, they had 123 titles when I started at Reed Business. Right. But everything from science to agriculture to aircraft to medical, and they didn't interest me. I wanted hair and beauty because I thought, actually, I'll like that. It will be interesting. So blah, blah, blah. And sure enough, and then I started, and I got offered the job on the training scheme, and then from there you worked out, you did lots of different places. So I worked on motorboat and yachting, Railway Gazette, all sorts of weird, and laundry and cleaning news was a particular favourite. So it wasn't all glamour. And then the job came up as a kind of a administrative role on the hair and beauty group, which I went for and got, and then was fortunate that I had really good bosses who allowed me to then start to do some writing. I was writing new products, and then put me through all the training at Reed. So actually it meant I got all the training whilst I was working, if you see what I mean. So it's like an apprenticeship, Stuart. That's the only thing I can liken it to. It was like doing an apprenticeship, and actually I'm hugely grateful for that. And I think and then just kind of spent many years working onwards and upwards, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of apprenticeships, and I think it's worrying, really, the industry, that how it's been affected with that, and you can't beat on the job training. You can't beat it. It's that thing of, I did an apprenticeship, and I learned as I went, and there's so many. There's been such a big change in education in our industry. I'm really lucky. I work alongside a company called Jet Training in Basildon.
Right. Yeah,
they're amazing. They are a real example of how an education centre should be. But they're not all like that, unfortunately. No. And so by working alongside them, because we did start the Haircuts for Others Academy, right, pre-pandemic, and we are going to go back to that, but we've got to get ourselves going again. Because the idea is that all of those across the country, if they can like, not adopt, but like, if they can take on, be responsible for one homeless person to get them back to work, like, it'd
be amazing.
It was tough. We've had 2 go through, 1 didn't make it. And I realise now how vulnerable they are. So it's not an easy sort of situation to do, but it's doable. We know now it's doable, and we know that, with all of those, every area had 1 person, and gradually it could increase.
Yeah, it would be fantastic.
Yeah. But what have you heard throughout the industry? What do you think the direction's going with that, with the education side?
Well, the T levels have just been awarded, so this is the government's kind of gold standard that they're rolling out. So the hair, beauty and barbering's in the 4th wave, and VTCT have won that with the NCFE. So VTCT will be driving the education. So there's very much, and I work with, I'm a trustee for them, so I've been involved in employer panels, and part of this. So basically, the T level will be equivalent to 3 A levels. So it's an alternative to A levels apprenticeships, and this is the 3rd route, if you like. And as part of T levels, you have 45 days work placement.
Right.
So you are in salon, whether it's beauty salon, barbers, hairdressers,
Yeah.
and they're working, VTCT are working very hard with employers and with colleges to make sure that it's worthwhile. It turns out the students are prepared at the end of the qualification and are ready and fit for work.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing. And I think the market, you'll know this, as there's a big kind of move towards freelance, which is fine. And people want to work that way. That's great. But what we have to ensure is that we're still training and bringing up the next generation, not necessarily in age, but just the next generation of hairdressers, however young or old they are when they come in to start, that they're getting that training and being able to watch and observe and learn and work alongside people who are more qualified, better trained, so that we all, I think you never stop learning. We all want to work with people who are really good because we can all learn from them. I don't think nobody should think they know everything, because nobody does. I mean, it's, you can always learn stuff from your team. And and I know when I was training, I had a fantastic editor, and to this day she's still one of the best journalists I've ever worked with. And I was really lucky because I would give her my copy and she'd literally go through it with red pen and this, no, don't do this. But you need that in the same way you need that with a haircut. It's the same thing. It's just a different skill set.
Yeah.
You need someone to be saying, no, that's not the right way. Yes, that is the right way, because then it forms habits, doesn't it? But you have to be told a few times first before the habit forms, I suppose.
Yeah. That's I think that sounds really exciting. Because it's definitely, education's so key. And as you said, you never stop learning. And it was only about, I think it was about 5 years ago, I still had the salon then. And I went and done not another salon with Sophia Hilton, and I done a colour course. And I was this old fart doing this with all these young, wonderful people. But I loved it. I just loved it. It was just like, I mean, she's Willy Wonka, that lady. She's absolutely Willy Wonka. And I just felt like I was 15, and it was just.
But that's brilliant, isn't it? That you get that energy. But I think hairdressing and barbering are industries where people are so willing to share their knowledge and expertise. They're not this kind of, don't look, this is my way of doing it. Everybody's really open, and actually, why would you not embrace that? I mean, I think I'm clearly a frustrated hairdresser of somewhere. I just love to do that. I would be terrible, I'm sure. But it's, I think in a market where people are so willing to give and share, everyone should take advantage of that. I personally don't see why you wouldn't.
No, and I think as well there is a time where we've had such change.
That was huge.
We've had world change. We're going to look back in history. I think we've lived through this momentous time, and it's embracing change. I mean, it's always
not
been
being scared.
Years. You've got to love change if you're going to grow. You want change, you've got to change something and all that stuff. But there's a different way of working now. There is, a self-employed hairdresser. There are home hairdressing salons. There are all of these things. My thing that I didn't really realise is that when I was going to set off doing this haircuts for homeless sort of life that I've got now, was all about meeting homeless people and vulnerable people. But I've met hairdressers. I've met hairdressers across the UK and Ireland and Southern Ireland, and and it's been fantastic. And I've met celebrity hairdressers. I've met people who've got a little garden salon. And throughout the pandemic, we was in contact as well. So we had they were sharing with us all of the problems that they had. I mean, a lot of the ones who had a solid business in a home salon didn't qualify for any grants.
No, they didn't.
And literally, and one of my team leaders has just in the end sent us, like a message to say, look, she's still going to be involved, but she's had to go out of hairdressing because it just, she only worked for last year. I think she only works like, 30 weeks out, and it's not doable. And there's a lot of that now.
There were a lot of people that fell through the cracks. I mean, I work with the hair and beauty charity, and normally we would meet as trustees once a month. We met every week for 58 weeks because the demand for help was so high. And the stories we were reading or hearing were really tough. And it was people who, absolutely through no fault of their own, their world was upside down because, as you say, they fell through the cracks and there was no support for them, financial or otherwise. And I suppose in the end, the charity was there, kind of the only place they could go. And luckily, we were able to offer help and support to pretty much everybody who asked us. But it was, it's been a life-changing. But what was fantastic to see was that, like you say, everybody was communicating together, and we tried very much to keep the market together and united, because people were scared. They didn't know when they were going to work again, what that would mean to their livelihood, what would that mean to their income. Then that has an impact on their family. But actually, if you're all sharing, nobody's on their own. And I think that's a big part of it, isn't it? If you realise you're not the only one. I think it was Monica Teodoro said the other day, we were all at the same sea, but we were all in different boats. And she's absolutely right. Everybody was in a different boat, but we were all on the same sea.
I love Monica. I just love that woman.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
She's an amazing woman, and that's that Brazilian upbringing of her, that she's
absolutely
real, like, she's absolutely just such a lovely human being.
Yeah,
that was it. Yeah, you're all in that. Yeah, you're just all in that same storm, aren't you?
Yeah, you were. And I think everybody from all of the manufacturers through to training providers to wholesalers, everybody tried to unite and support. And I think the only positive for me in terms of industry, for us as an industry, was that all of a sudden every national newspaper, every television program was recognizing, actually, and this is what you've been saying forever, and that's what Haircuts for Homeless does, is it's not just about how it makes you look, it's about how a haircut makes you feel. And actually, we all know that, but finally, everybody else started to realize that that's the case. Because again, like we said earlier, until you don't have it anymore, you don't realize quite how much you miss it.
No. And I found that with, and this is why, I've got a massive call to action now with people, because I understand now that with economic insecurity, that they're a little bit reluctant to give up any time, but we need volunteers. And why I say it is, do it for yourself, because when I couldn't do that for those, I think the last one got me the most. That last 4 months or so.
The kind of January to April was the toughest, wasn't it, this year?
Got me. Like I had some other stuff going on, so my mental health went right down to the floor, because I realised that this is my antidote. Like this stuff that I do, that there is it boosts me. It fills me. It charges my soul, and without it, I'm back to being just me, and it's not good. But,
I'm sure it is good, but I know what you mean, because it makes you, it's worthwhile. That's the thing, isn't it? The fact that you can make such a difference to somebody is really worthwhile. So, and we spoke about this when we did a live a few weeks ago. People don't have to give endless amounts of time, but they can give a few hours, and those few hours will make a huge difference to a number of homeless people, but to themselves. And I don't think people always see the benefit to them until they've actually done it. Because I've spoken to people that have done sessions with you, and they're just like, oh my God, they're a bit nervous going into it because they don't know what to expect. They don't want to say the wrong thing, and we're all terrified of saying the wrong thing and offending somebody. But actually, the feeling it gave them whilst they were doing it then buoyed them to help them do what they needed to do.
I thoroughly recommend it. It's like it is gratitude is the greatest antidote to depression. I really think it is. Being grateful for what you've got. I mean, part of my recovery, we do something called a gratitude list.
Right.
And I've taken it further now. I've got it on my phone, and I've literally got a proper list.
Right.
And when things are really getting to me, I flick it open and I read through it, and I guarantee you, by the time I get to the bottom, and on there is I'm grateful for being able to have Haircuts for Homeless, and there's lots of other stuff on there. And by the time I get to the bottom, I feel better.
That's true. Because I think we all do it. You get so wrapped up in your own issues and your own circumstance that you don't see outside of that. And actually, you don't have to look very hard to see somebody who's having a much tougher time than you are, for whatever reason. So it's, but it is, isn't it? That's when you need to rely on friends and family. And I think, obviously, the people you come into contact haven't got that reliance. So you guys are probably the first human touch they've had in what could be a very long time. And I would imagine that's really emotional.
Yeah. I was in Clacton, sunny Clacton on Monday morning, Uh,
Was it sunny, or are you lying to me?
it was it was a bit grim, you know, and it was a bit grim when I left in the morning, and but it was. There was a guy there, and he's on the Instagram, so everyone have a look at it, because he's got a great Roger. I'm sure his name was Roger, and he's got a great makeover because his hair and his beard, and he hadn't. But he said, I haven't been touched since before the pandemic.
Wow.
And then he clarified it to say I haven't had a haircut, but I sort of felt that first sentence was the truth.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
And then, you know, it was just, it just see. I've done a little mini film of these photos that, and you can sort of see him unfolding, you know.
Yeah.
And I did say it on the video, I think, or I said it, but I wish I could have filmed it. Is I followed him out because they kept popping in, the Salvation Army workers, saying, "Oh, Roger, look, Roger," and I was like, and then they were sort of saying, "You're going to get a round of applause when you go outside," because we was in a separate room, and I thought I'm going to follow him out, and I followed him out, and all these homeless people all eating their breakfast and all that, and I went, "Way!" and he got a proper. I mean, my hairs are standing up.
It's making the hairs on the back of my neck stand up.
He just literally, and he got a round of applause, and I had to move my car, so I went out, and every time I went out, he grabbed my hand, he was going, "Oh, thank you, mate, thank you so much," and he kept, you know, like,
but the difference,
and that's what I'm trying to get across to people, that you need to know that, you know, you need to know that type of thing that you're gonna, that feeling that you're gonna get doing this is so important.
Yeah, and also I know, you know, you're a nationwide charity, so you need help from people from all four corners of the United Kingdom, don't you? That's the thing. It's, you know, support everywhere. This is not London South East centric. This is everywhere. Homelessness is not London and South East centric. It is nationwide. It's worldwide, but for you, it's nationwide, and you need to try and get as much support as you can to help. Because there'll be other Rogers in the northeast, the northwest, Scotland, the Midlands, Wales, you know, southwest. People are having a hard time everywhere. So the more
I go, it's the same. I walk in the same place, and it's the same. Everything's the same apart from the accent. It's just a different accent everywhere. You know, it's not centrally based or anywhere. This is across the whole of UK and Ireland, and everywhere I go, it just feels the same. And you know, it's reassuring but depressing all at the same time. I'm meeting the same people, same circumstances, same stories, and it's only getting worse. So we need more people, we need more help, and that's the thing with it, you know, that. And if there isn't one near you, we can get you started.
I was going to say, start one, right?
Everywhere. You know, we're only scratching the surface at the moment.
No, it's brilliant.
I'm throwing it back to you again.
Oh God!
Right.
It's much better talking about you.
Yeah, I know. I know what you were doing. You were trying to get it away from you, but I want to know what drives you. What drives you, Jayne? Because you're very driven.
Yeah, I am very driven. I mean, I'm not a hairdresser. I'm not a beauty therapist, but I absolutely love the market. And I suppose if you've been in it for as long as I have, it's like you know, literally at salon, it felt like we'd got the family back together. I know that sounds really, but you know, I've grown up as you all have. We've all grown up together, and actually to have a forced separation of nearly 2 years has been tough for everybody. So I think what drives me is I want everybody to know how great these industries are in terms of a great place to work, you know, and we've all had it. I've had friends and I've even had friends of friends say, "Oh, you're a hairdresser in that," and I'm like, "No, but I wish I was."
No,
because you know, the difference I would make every day to somebody's life in a very different way to what you do, but you're still making a difference to those people when they come into your salon. And for me, it's about what drives me is making people realize these are great industries to forge a career. Because the opportunities are endless. You can travel the world. The age is no boundary to setting up a business. You keep learning. You're surrounded by great people. And it's not something that anybody should do just because they think they can't do anything else. And that literally sets me raging. I mean, it makes
your face.
Honestly, it drives me to distraction. It's like, why would you? I mean, I've got 2 sons who are at university, and that's great. They've chosen that, and that's what they want to do, and I'm super proud of them. But we had a conversation. I was like, if you want to go do an apprenticeship, if you want to be a hairdresser, I don't care, so long as they're happy and they're fulfilled, because you spend a long time working. So you really need to make sure you pick wisely, and it's something that you really love doing. I mean, I can't imagine doing a job that I hate doing, because you spend so much time doing it. And I know these markets are slightly different, because it's not 9 to 5:30. This job is not 9 to 5:30. You make yourself accessible, and that's absolutely my choice to do that. But so that drives me, that we get good people. The industries are recognised for being a great contributor to the UK economy and the world economy, that hairdressing in the UK is recognised and continues to be recognised in the best in the world. And I suppose our role in that is giving the established, but the new people, those platforms in which to grow their business, their profile and their reach and engagement, and to make a bigger difference, so that, we can all, and in turn, then you can also make a difference doing things like you do, or hair and beauty charity, or, do you know what I mean? There is so much opportunity for people. So that genuinely drives me. And I suppose the other thing that drives me is being the best we can possibly be. So as a business, we position ourselves at the heart of our communities. So for hair, beauty, spa, aesthetics, and it's making sure that we're giving those industries what they need in terms of content, how they need it, when they need it, making sure that we keep people up to date. So that, and I am an absolute nightmare for the details. Anybody who works with me will tell you.
Yes.
So, but you can't do events. You can't do magazines. You can't do anything without doing the detail, because we get one shot to make sure Salon International's right. You can't say, oh, we'll do it again next weekend because we didn't quite get, It's a very hard deadline. And magazines and social and websites are the same, aren't they? I mean, social and websites these days, gone are the days where, you used to wait till HJ came out on a Friday to find out who'd won British Hairdresser of the Year on the Monday. That doesn't happen. People want to consume their news instantly. And that's changed how we work hugely. And actually, it was just complete fate. But the night of the Business Awards was the night that Facebook and Instagram and Mark Zuckerberg's hold on the world collapsed, because everything shut down for 6 hours. And actually, what was amazing was that everybody watched it in 3D rather than through a screen.
Yeah.
Because they'll watch through a screen because they're recording or they're taking pictures, and it's brilliant. And people did share all the stuff afterwards, but they actually lived it. For us going to events, I go to events and we literally watch them through our mobile phones because we're reporting on it. Whereas you used to be able to go back to the office and write it up and then file your copy. I'm so old, Stuart. Yeah, but that's how it. But do you know what I mean? That's how it was. So
and there's something special about that, isn't there? Literally the putting the phone down and just enjoying, because you absorbing and being present. It's all about being present.
It is about being present. It is about being present. And I suppose, the other thing that drives me, you also, we've touched on this, you want to set an example to your kids, don't you? That, you get the good things in life because you work hard and you're consistent. Yeah. And all those things, I suppose.
Yeah, work ethic.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing we've definitely given our boys is a work ethic. Yeah. I mean, but I do work hard, but that's because I love what I do.
Yeah. And it's not work. I'm the same. I sort of probably put a bit, as you do, a bit too much on myself. But and family close to you often say that you're putting too much on yourself. Having said that, it keeps me going.
Yeah, it does me.
And we found that out recent times when we weren't doing as much.
Yeah.
We made ourselves do stuff.
Yeah.
But it weren't quite the same.
But it didn't fulfill you in the same way, did it? No, because you've not.
Big gap there.
Yeah, and I mean, Zoom and all the other, it's brilliant, and absolutely, it was perfect for the time. But you can't beat human interaction.
No, you cannot. I've got a massive praise to all of your team for getting that together, because it was just this. I mean, I was only there Sunday and Monday, but the feeling of there was a little bit of fear there. There's a bit of fear, because I thought, my God, there's a lot of people here.
Yeah.
But it was so well run. You felt safe.
Thank you.
And also you just had this just feeling of like back to normality.
joy, I think,
And
was
joy.
the thing that people were just
joy there.
Joyous that they could get on stage and share, or they could come and watch. I mean, it's the only time that I've ever had people who I've never met come up and say, thank you so much for doing this. We needed this as an industry. And, you know, huge respect to my team and Mark and the team here, because they just pulled it off and worked tirelessly. I mean, it's a big deal anyway, but in the current climate, it was much, you know, it was hard. I'm not going to lie, it was hard. And it was just brilliant to see it come together, and actually to see people come back and reunite. It was fantastic.
I think it was very important. I think it was a very important moment in hairdressing that it happened again, because it so easily could have been a you know,
we'll do it next year,
online event, and then next year. But I think it was so important that it broke the back of that, and it leads the way now for, we've got to get to normality next year. You know, we must plough through and get through it. You know, just even from my end. But you know, I've spent this ever since April, we've hit the ground running, and we're reaching the point where we're back to where we were pre-pandemic. But I have to always go backwards and then think, actually, I've got to remember how it felt in April, and it was such a mountain to climb.
Absolutely right.
We're getting there, you know.
Yeah.
And then now we can look forward to the optimism we had pre-pandemic of growing even further. There's so many things that we can all achieve as an industry.
Absolutely.
And the time starts, you know, in a few months, I suppose. The new year, the new start. Mind you, I bloody said that last year.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel. I mean, it does feel like we are getting back to normal, and I think for us it was important to do it, because it is one of those that we've missed a year. If you miss another year, what does that say? And I think we had to be, brave's a bit of a big word, but brave enough to commit to say, we're going to do this, we're going to deliver it, we can do it in a safe way, and you know, hopefully take as many people with us on the journey that wanted to come and do that whole thing of getting back together. And I think actually the people that did really, really enjoyed it. So
I don't think brave's the wrong word. I think brave is the right word for it.
It sounds a bit grand, but
no,
I don't mean it like that.
It was brave, because it takes courage, because it's a sort of fear has affected everyone, like, you know, at a personal level, also at an industry level. So, you know, it was a big old arse to get that going, you know.
Yeah, it was. The team were a bit tired.
I bet you've featured a lot of conversations over the last few months with
I think you had people who exactly, and they completely what are they doing? But actually, but we've got to, you know, whatever you believe about anything, COVID's not going away. We have to learn to live with it. It's like the flu. It's not like the flu, but it is like a flu. We have to learn to live with it, and we have to learn to exist with it, and run our lives, and get back to doing, you know, personally, I don't think humans are built not to be with other humans and interacting and socializing, and, you know, and I think we haven't probably touched the tip of the iceberg on the mental health issues that are coming out of COVID now, where, you know, you have people with real anxiety about going out because they've not been out for 18 months. You know, you can see people in your own family that it's had an impact on. You don't have to look very far, do you, to see how it's, and everybody has had their own way of dealing with it and trying to find their way out of it. I mean, I got COVID very early, so March 2020, and in a way that made me less scared, because I'd had it and I was all right. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it did. So, but that's not to say that you're not being careful and doing everything you need to do, and, you know, making sure everybody else is safe. This
is the thing, and once the biggest fear is the fear of the unknown.
It is.
One of my kids got it, and we sort of, I've got to stop saying this, but I keep saying we locked her in a bedroom, but we didn't physically lock her in a bedroom. But
that doesn't sound great.
And we are lucky that, you know, like we've got two bathrooms, so you know, she had the bathroom, meals on the floor, knocking on the door, all of that stuff, and none of us got it, so it's doable. But that's easy for me to say in a house where we've got the bedroom.
Got space.
you know, if you're in a studio flat with a couple of kids, you know, like you can't separate. So but you can get through it.
I mean, I got it before you could get a test to say you'd had it. So I got the test 4 months later. I paid for an antigen test and I definitely had it, and was saying to my GP, I can't smell or taste. And he was like, I've no idea what that is. That's a bit odd. But it was before it became a recognised symptom. It was just like, oh, it's just a bit odd. It's like, well, I can't. So, but no, you're right. We are both fortunate in that we've got space so that nobody else caught it.
I think what happened was then it went through dips, didn't it? Like, and you sort of like 1 minute you're really scared, then it was sort of getting a bit complacent.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you'd have something. I remember when I saw that lovely Jamie from Schwarzkopf, Kleiner, when he passed away, because he's of the area where my salon was, and my sister was friends with him on Facebook and that stuff. And those things were so awful, and it was so quick and so sudden and such a shock that it made you think, oh my God, this is so real. It made the reality of it, didn't it? That anyone who was touched by that. And,
absolutely.
You know, and I love to see at salon, I went over to and there was this
you see on the Schwarzkopf stand, the plaque to him on the stand.
Plaque with him with his big smile, you know. So
it was brilliant that they did that. It was a really lovely thing to just acknowledge him. It was lovely.
Yeah, I thought that, and it was great. And because I was in there looking at the photographs
at the gallery, British Hairdressing Awards gallery.
A lot of them taken by Jack Eames.
Yes, lovely Jack Eames.
Done that one. And because it was really funny when Jack first got in touch with me. He was saying that you know, I do. I'm a photographer now. I didn't even know. And then I think I went up to the. I love
that. I'm a photographer. He is a superb photographer.
Well, I didn't know. So I goes, oh yeah, mate, you want to take some photos? That's fine. He was a nice guy. He's really fitted in well. He's very cool, very, very gentle man. So he fitted in really perfectly. And you know, we've been doing quite a bit. Then I went up to last year. It was the Fellowship Awards, Fellowship Luncheon.
Right.
When they surprised me with an award, and I was actually supposed to be somewhere else. I was like, I thought it was that night, so I had to quickly send my sister off to where we were going, quickly get me suit on and get up there. And I've bumped into him at the station. I said, "What are you doing here?" He went, "Oh, I've just you know." And still hadn't really told me. And then we walked in, and Errol Douglas going, "Oh, Jack," and you know, and all these people, and I thought, "Oh, are you a proper photographer then?"
Are you a proper photographer? I love that.
He went, "Well, yeah, I've done most of the collections." And I went, "Oh, I didn't know that." But you know, it leads on to the crowdfunder. You know that then you had us on the live, and you know, I don't know when this will probably go out in a couple of weeks, but I would think when this goes out, we would have just finished our crowdfunder. But
people can still raise money for you.
But they can still raise money for us, and the book will then we've we've pre-sold on the crowdfunder. We've pre-sold an amount of books.
Right.
We'll probably get to the end of pre-sale about 10%, but there's still 90% then to sell. So you know, and it's an important thing. And our thing is that we want to have to reprint, because we really want it on every reception desk. You know. Everyone having a coffee in a salon anywhere in the country should be able to pick that book up, you know. And
showed me some of the running sheets. It's absolutely beautiful.
It's you know, and Lee, I've mentioned Lee Keats as well. Who he's a quiet man, Lee, so he doesn't sort of come forward a lot, but he just picks up. He just got an ear for picking up the most beautiful like sentence or story. And that's why there's going to be photographs in the book, but there's just these little nuggets of gold that Lee's found. So between the three of us, you know, my role's not really much now because I'm busy doing the work, but they're the ones who are putting it all together. And I'm so proud of it that it's going to be such a stunning thing.
Oh, it's beautiful. Having seen the running sheets, it looks amazing. And I mean, it's true testament to every picture tells 1,000 words. Because in every face you just see a story, don't you? It's absolutely beautiful, and I think it's a lovely it's a lovely thing for them to have come together to work with you on, because obviously this will then help, will help the charity, won't it? And will help you keep going and keep pushing forward and being able to make such a difference to the homeless community, which is something we should all support.
Yeah, I mean, I think as an industry, we've got so much support anyway, but you know, like all small charities, it's tough to get that. So we're always on the lookout for sort of corporate sponsors. And what I found, what was really amazing, like our first corporate sponsor on board was L'Oreal.
Right.
Now, they have been amazing. I'm not just saying it because they're supporters. They literally have been amazing because they see it as something that's beyond commercialism. So that they're more than happy for another sponsor to get on board within the
absolutely.
industry. You know, they say it's bigger than that, and I really appreciate that. So, and
they're right, it is bigger than that.
Yeah. So, we've got Sonoti, which are a software company, big in America.
The American, yeah.
They're sort of getting bigger over here. They've supported us really, really well. But there's room for a couple more. So, you know, that hopefully the book will bring attention, and then that will come forward.
And so when the crowdfunding ends, where do people go to buy the book? Is it on haircutsforhomeless.com? Sorry, I'm not meant to be asking the questions, but I've just thought we need to get this in here.
I'm sure.
It will be. There'll be a link on haircutsforhomeless.com.
Actually, for being at Salon was so great because I finally got to meet the guys at Green Salon Collective. They've been supporting us for a while now, and as they're growing, they're going to support us more. But they're going to sell it on, you know, their connection through their website. So they'll actually have the book available on their website. They've said, I'm sure they'll make that happen. We'll have it on obviously the Haircuts for Homeless website. We'll probably have links in the bios of on the Instagram and probably a face. I'll probably set it so you can buy it direct from our Facebook page as well. So yeah, I'm sure, you know, and I'm sure you'll find a way to help me sell it as well. So.
I was just going to say, we will absolutely find a way to help you push it out because it's really important, and it's imperative that we keep the funding going so that you guys can keep doing the work that you do.
Well, early on, I said to them, I put my salon owner head on, you know, of many, many years. And I said to them, look, I think the great thing of this is that you're not just asking for a donation. This is something that you're gonna donate the same sort of money as you probably would anyway to the local netball team, but you're actually going to get something through the post in this lovely
something really worthwhile.
Yeah, it's going to be like a little Christmas present, and you know it's going to be out for Christmas. I'm sure we're going to make that happen. Yeah, so
we will definitely help you, Stuart.
Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure.
Jayne,
you've made me cry.
I've made you cry. I've not even cut your hair. I've made you cry. It's normally when I cut fringe too short that happens, but you know.
Oh, I would get upset about that. I hide behind my fringe.
But it's been an absolute pleasure, and you know, it was really nice speaking to you, and I'm sure you'll be hearing a lot more from me in the future.
I do hope so.
You might delete my number at some point.
I will not ever delete your number. We are happy to help. Thank you for asking me to come on with you.
No, and I've really enjoyed it. I'm sure everyone's going to enjoy listening. But I'm sure you're busy, so I'll let you get back to your day.
Thank you. I'll see you soon.
See you soon.